Okay, cool. Donnie Hobbie, director of Jump Scare. Jump Scare is a horror comedy. It's a kind of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque story. A band goes to a remote place to write an album, and they find out there's a pretty gnarly family of cannibals living next door, so they have to deal with that, and madness ensues. So that's the movie. There's fun to be had. I just like the aesthetic. I mean, honestly, it's like trying to find a way to get cell phones out of a movie. It's like that's one way to do it. Not the only way, of course, but it's more of just an artistic aesthetic thing. Like the telephones, the TVs, like everything in that era are just so much more cinematic and fun. You know, they make the visuals just feel fun, the cars, you know, everything. And it was like that transitionary kind of period coming from the 80s into the 90s where things kind of became more relaxed and into grunge from more like, you know, 80s metal, you know. So they're trying to find their identity as we kind of were as like the MTV generation, you know. We all are kind of, you know, stealing from the people who come before us. You know, Tarantino famously takes things from all of his, you know, the films that he appreciated. Very much kind of a reference to that, and, you know, just kind of saying that it's okay to do that, right? It's okay. It's not just okay. It's like it's always been done that way, right? You're supposed to sample. You know, it all comes from somewhere, right? So yeah, it was that was a very kind of intentional thing that I put in there, a very on the nose kind of reference, yeah. So as I'm stealing things from all these great artists that came before, you know, and making it into my own thing, you know. The dialogue, of course, there's a lot of deliberate kind of like Easter eggs there, but as far as like each scene, kind of the way that they play out, I just go by feel, you know. That's all. It's just all in the moment, instinct with and what the actors are giving you too. You know, that plays a lot into it. So yeah, it's just all feel for me. Like it's just purely instinct. Like, and that's kind of how I direct too. You know, which can be kind of hard for actors because a lot of times it can be mechanical. You know, to get things to you know, speed up, or, you know, take a beat here, or, you know, take a step there, you know. So those kinds of things. Yeah. Writing the script, you know, I had key scene. The way that I've always done it is having, you know, something that I really want to shoot, right? Like something that just like is like a virus in your brain, you can't get it out. Like, so for this one, it was the belly scene. Like that was kind of the key point, and then developing the plot around that, and then you know, a few other scenes come together, and then those become key scenes, like the trailer scene, which actually came from the location because the trailer was on the location. So I decided to write a scene for the trailer, and that became one of my favorite scenes at that point. And the sheriff murder scene with the, you know, repetitive, you know, blood splatter. So yeah, and then figuring out the ending, of course, is always one of the hardest parts. But yeah, that's how I've always kind of done it, is just, you know, having key kind of pivotal moments, and then figuring out a way to get there in as elegant a way as possible, and then how to get out of it. The aspect ratio thing was not planned, but in the edit, I just, you know, there were just scenes that just didn't feel right in the widescreen 239. So, and I just tried it. I was just like, well, let's just try it, because there was just too much empty space. And so I tried it, and I was like, oh, this is better. So there was even a version where the whole thing was in 4:3, but I couldn't, because, you know, the second half of the movie, some of those shots are just so beautiful in the widescreen. I was like, I can't do it. So I decided to just mix it up, you know, and go with it. Same with a lot of the VFX. It was just kind of trial by error, just figuring it out, because I have a little bit of experience with that, but not a lot, just like, you know, Googling how do I do this, and, you know, trying it and figuring it out, and then kind of, you know, manipulating it in a way that works. And, you know, we got there. It took a year and a half, but we got there. They brought a lot, you know, to the table for sure. I was way out of my league with them. They were just so good, you know. They were all, and I'll pat myself on the back a little bit, because I did spend so much time casting. And you know, when I found Erin, who played Jen, I mean, that one was like obvious. She's so talented. And then you know, Natasha, who played Karen, that one was really hard, watching so much tape, just so much tape, like so many auditions. And just, I was really discouraged, because I just couldn't find anyone. And it's like, maybe it's the writing, you know? Maybe it's my bad writing, right? But eventually, you know, I saw Natasha's tape and I was like, oh, there it is, you know? And it was like, it's just a lot of times such an obvious, you know, decision when that, you know, famously Christopher Waltz, Tarantino, that whole thing for Inglourious Basterds, same kind of situation, because I was thinking about not making the movie. Like, if I can't cast the movie right, you know, it'll be bad, you know? So, yeah, they brought a lot, and they were all fantastic. They were just phenomenal, yeah. There's also no jump scares in a movie called Jump Scare, which I did realize that kind of during the development I was like, maybe I should write some jump scares into this. But then I was like, it's kind of funny that it's a movie called Jump Scare that has no jump scares. So it's like, okay, I think I'm okay. The title in itself is almost kind of like an analogy for the movie. Like, what is a jump scare, right? It's like just a cheap, in-your-face, like, thrill, which is kind of like what I'm going for with the movie. It's a cheap, in-your-face little thrill, you know? It's not profound, right? It's just for fun. It's funny, you mentioned Pulp Fiction, of course, but so that movie, I think, had a big influence on me almost by accident. I had Pulp Fiction on VHS, and I used to watch it in my room every once in a while. At one point, the VCR broke, and the tape got stuck in the VCR. So that was the only thing that I could watch for a while. So I watched it almost every day for a while, you know. So it's like burnt into my brain, that movie. The screenplay that I'm writing right now, it's even more Pulp Fiction-esque. Like that one, I'm stealing the I shot Marvin in the face scene and kind of like making that my own, because I think that's one of the greatest like scenes in all of cinema. So I'm taking that and doing something pretty fun with it. In this one, it's more just, again, like instinct, and having that kind of like printed on my brain. And it's like when you're making decisions, it's like the composition would be similar because it's just in my head, you know. Wes Anderson too, visually, is a big influence for me. So I think that the visuals kind of like straddle that line, you know, of the symmetry of Wes Anderson and kind of the cartooniness of Wes Anderson with the kind of more, you know, hard style of Tarantino. Not that Tarantino style isn't slightly cartoony as well, but yeah, so. Well, that was originally written for Nick Cage, actually. But, you know, he's pretty hard to get, and we had a connection with Eric. So his agent actually wanted him to play the sheriff, and we were like, well, I think this would be, you know, more fun. And so he read it, and he thought it was hilarious. So yeah, he agreed to do it. That was a big day when he was on set too. It was a very complicated day. It was during the big battle scene, and then on top of that, we have Eric Roberts, you know, who we're bringing in for just like a couple shots. Crazy day. Yeah, I mean, I wish we could have spent more time on it so we could have had more fun with the visuals, but, you know, doing all that in one day was a lot. It was a lot. We did a lot of choreography practice with the fight choreographer and the stunt guy, and made sure we were on point because we knew that we only had one day and there was like, you know, 10 battles we had to shoot, you know. We shot most of it on location, but there were, I mean, you know, the credit sequence, that's all green screen, of course. But we also did some pickups, green screen. But yeah, we finished most of it on location. Yeah, I went back out to the location myself, actually, to shoot the actual exploding belly. There were 2 locations. One of them was in LA and one of them was in Lancaster. But yeah, we did shoot most of it on location, and I went in and, you know, added a lot to it, you know, which was not necessarily planned, but, you know, that's how it worked out.